Chatting now with Dave Cathey, who covers all things food, restaurant, bar, the social scene for the Oklahoman. Dave, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Dave.
You've been certainly busy because one of the industries impacted in a huge way is what we were just talking about, that of restaurants and bars and dinings. And let's just lead off with the story you just finished posting on Oklahoman.com about our friends over at the Red Cup.
Yeah, the Red Cup, I talked to Patrick Clark over there, the chef, and the situation is they have a salon, I guess, nearby across the street, somewhere very close by, where there was a client that tested positive, and the stylist who works on that client has fallen ill. There's no guarantee that this person has the virus, but they are showing some signs of being sick. So because all the people from the salon are in the Red Cup quite often, he said just to be safe, they just shut it down. They're self-quarantining just to make sure. No one there is showing any signs of being sick or anything like that. But in times like this, you just have to be ultra careful.
For sure. He's known as the food dude. You follow him every Wednesday in the Oklahoman, but on social media every day, and of course online at Oklahoman.com. And Dave, you're well connected with the service industry, the food industry, chefs and restaurants. Walk us through, describe the impact on them.
Well, to be honest, Dave, this is as bad as it gets for the service industry, for the food service industry. Restaurants in particular, caterers probably have been hit the hardest. We had a story earlier in the week on what some local caterers are trying to do to survive. All catering has been devastated as events have been canceled. Anybody out there who's had to cancel a wedding or anything like that, graduation coming up, stuff like that, it's all devastating to you personally, but you've all hired caterers probably too, or some kind of food service that's also been canceled. So entire sections of the food service industry are being completely devastated by this. Restaurants are being hit really hard. Bars, obviously, I mean, my goodness, they're all closed. No money coming in. Anybody who's working for a bar has probably been put on furlough. I know yesterday a big part of the day was spent local restaurateurs putting their employees on furlough to try and help them get set up to get some sort of unemployment coming in. It is absolutely devastating. You have to remember the restaurant model is subsidized, by tipping. And so the people who work there don't, or as far as front of the house, they don't make a lot of money anyway. So whatever they're going to be getting from unemployment is based on a very low wage. So it's very difficult. And in the restaurants themselves, they rely on daily transactions. And when those daily transactions are curtailed to this point, it's just devastating. A lot of people doing curbside service right now, trying to do delivery, trying to figure out how to do delivery. Guyutis today got it figured out. They're going to be sending out their own people to do delivery to try and help their staff maintain some kind of income. It's a mad scramble right now.
But I also saw on social media people like our friends over at the Pump. They're like, hey, and I think it's the Pump that I saw. Mm-hmm. Regardless, some of these places, their kitchen isn't built for takeout, meaning that it's a small operation. The proximity wouldn't allow for social distancing for them to do curbside.
Absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not. And most kitchens are not. And so that's a whole nother story, which we're going to kind of get into next week. This week, we've been just trying to keep up with who's doing what as far as offering any kind of service. And so I actually had a request from a reader to look into, wanted more information about how the kitchens are operating to make sure that they're staying clean and they're staying healthy. And so I'm going to do my best to get into some kitchens and get some video to show people what's going on. I know we stopped by Moni's last night to pick up pizza, and we did that. The young man who served who was at the front, put on a fresh pair of gloves before he touched the box. Same thing in the kitchen. So there's a lot of effort being made to make sure that whatever work is being done safely. At the same time, when you have something like I just described with Red Cup, if somebody comes into your restaurant who maybe already is infected in some way, then there's nothing you can do about that. So they're doing everything they can in their power to make sure that what they do is safe and clean. We need the food. The fact is, we need the food service professionals to be able to continue to operate on to help our economy continue to move, B, to keep some of the pressure off of our grocery stores, because as this pandemic gets more broad and starts to spread more intensely, it's going to be harder and harder. The pressure on the grocery stores is going to get more intense. So as many options as we have to get food is going to be best for the entire community.
You have
So
a good point there, because the grocery
pressure,
stores, they're relying on that supply chain to keep working, and there's just various elements. I just saw a press release hit my email inbox about truck drivers, meaning the open road trucks drivers. They're like, hey, we can't sit down in a restaurant anymore. It's just the drive-through. But where are they going to park those big rigs for a drive-through?
Exactly.
So there's all sorts of logistical problems.
It is all up and down. You mentioned it, the supply chain. Not only the food itself being moved across the world into places, but the people who are responsible for moving it, for picking up and moving it down the road. So that's part of why it's important to keep it moving. But again, it's putting a lot of stress on the people who are responsible for it. So it's this double-edged sword that we're currently dealing with. And of course, we need to be able to protect the people who are working on the supply line. But of course, we're learning that our testing is really behind, and you know those are things that are beyond our control. So in the meantime, as a consumer, really, you know, the main thing that you can do at this point is obviously stay home, stay clean, all those things. But as far as restaurants and our food service community is concerned, is to try and make some amount of takeout a part of your budget during this time. We don't know how long this is going to go on. You know, we're it feels like last week. I guess it was Tuesday. They threw out the date of April 12th when we're going to kind of look at things again. And a lot of restaurants are talking about we'll reopen on April 12th. Well, we don't even have a picture of the map of where the virus is spread at this point. So really, April 12th is just a date down the road where we're going to look again. And at that point, if the map shows that this thing is still spreading, there will be another date down the road that they will cut off that they'll hold back service on. So what makes this hard is we're used to having information at our fingertips all the time thanks to technology.
But the data is not there.
Yeah, it's all been rendered moot by this thing, and we're going to have to be patient, and that is not easy for us. So while we're being patient, buy gift cards. There's a movement afoot to, you know what, if you've got the money, you can buy a meal for yourself, and when you're in a restaurant, you can buy a meal for somebody else. You know, you can leave it, you can pay it forward. There's a lot of ways that we can support the people in hospitality. The food service people are always there for us, for our special occasions. They're always there for us for our charity events. I mean, look, I wrote about this. There are thousands of people and dozens of them here, right here in Oklahoma City, who have built a small brand, a small business using Instagram and social media by showing pictures of restaurants from around the city, and they usually get compensated with free food and free gift cards for that kind of stuff. It's all been done in good faith. Now's the time for anybody out there who's made any kind of money or made any kind of a brand for themselves, shooting pictures on social media. This is the time for you to use the influence that you have built up to help to protect and help the people who helped you build that influence. So those are things you can do. And like I said, we're going to have to be cooking more at some point too, and we'll get to that down the road. But right now, our restaurants really need us, and we can't overwhelm them, but we can do everything that we can to try and keep some business moving in their direction.
Well said. So two things. Dave Cathey has compiled a list of the restaurants who have closed and or their operations, whether that's curbside takeout or what they're doing. And number two, how you can help. You can find both of those, whether that's buying gift cards or going online through their operations, on our website at oklahoman.com. And of course, you can follow Dave on social media channels as well. It's a devastating story, and it certainly hits the food industry really heavy.
It does. And you know, I'm sitting in the same spot I've been sitting for about 5 days because, you know, I'm just trying, you mentioned the list, I'm just trying to keep it as updated as possible with as much information as I can, who's doing what, who's decided to close, things like that. It's going to be a little bit chaotic going forward. As that settles in, as I mentioned before, we're going to try and get out to some places and show folks what's going on to protect them, so they can support these places with some confidence. Plenty more to report. You know, we're going to be doing this for a while, I'm afraid.
For sure. We have lots of friends in the service and restaurant industry, so it's tough to see. Follow this gentleman, Dave Cathey, again on social media channels. If you don't follow him on Instagram, there's been some really good-looking tacos he's been posting lately.
That's right. That's right. The Taco Olympiad is underway, and I've got two different tacos that I have put up on Instagram. At some point, we'll get together and do like a full-fledged video, perhaps.
Awesome, Dave. Hope you and yours are staying safe, and thanks for keeping us informed.
You bet. You too, Dave.